a lot of news this week. We're talking about a government shutdown, a CPI scare. We'll break it all down for you guys. You're going to love it. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. I want to thank our sponsor today, and that is iTrust Capital, a great place for you guys to start your crypto journey. If you're not ready to maybe invest in a short-term trade, go over to iTrust Capital and build it in an IRA. And the way you can do that, and guess what? You can still do this before April 15th. You can still take advantage of an IRA. So check it out. Use our link down below. You can purchase tokens in there, tax-free, just like any other IRA. It's very easy to set up. And the cool thing is you're joining like another 200,000 people that have already done this. If you use our link down below, you get a $100 funding reward to get started. Let's go into a few things today, and I want to kind of lead off here with this right here, and that is that the House passes their funding bill. If you guys don't know what this is, this is the government shutdown bill that was being reviewed and was being challenged quite a bit, but the House got it through. This is a big potential for us to see an easing in D.C. It looks like we will possibly get it passed on Friday or before Friday. Friday deadline is I think it's midnight on Friday when it goes to the Senate floor, and we'll see. I know that there's still some shuffling around for the number of votes that we need. I think it's 60 votes. They're setting it around 52 right now. So there are going to be some things to get this done. So this is a big advantage because this is good for the market in general. And then, the other thing that I want to get in around the shutdown, actually, I want to go to a clip real quick. This will give you some more insights to it. Let's go to this clip.
The House of Representatives has just approved a stopgap spending bill that would keep the federal government open. NBC News chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles joins us now. Tell us what you're seeing and what's happening up there and why this matters.
Well, Nicole, it is very important that this passed in the form and fashion that it passed, because it's now going to put Democrats in the United States Senate in a difficult position as to how they're going to handle the next stage of this negotiation. The bill ended up passing in the House by a very slim margin of 217 to 213, largely along partisan lines. There was one Republican, Tom Massey of Kentucky, who voted no, but there was also one Democrat, Jared Golden of Maine, who voted yes. Now it is going to be up to the Senate to decide with finality whether or not this stopgap spending bill is signed into law and is passed.
All right, so you can see, point is this Senate showdown is what we're waiting on. And of course, that will be the question all the way into Friday as we go forward. If it gets through, this will be another very bullish sign for the market. Speaking of bullish, I want to go to a clip here from Tom Lee. And then we'll get into some trading, because you guys, I know you're going to want to take a look at Bitcoin and ETH. We're going to do some charts, all that good stuff here in a second. But let me go to this clip real quick with Tom.
I think investors are, of course, reacting to the White House warning of pain ahead, but it has been more of an equity sell-off than it has been in corporate bonds. So to us, 4% down days, yeah, I think it's an overreaction.
Yeah, how do you best explain that difference between what equities have done and what we've seen in IG and even high yield?
Well, I think on the stock side, markets are now saying, look, the new regime is we have to take the tariffs seriously. Now we don't know how long these tariffs might be. Will it hurt growth? And we've seen cuts from economists. But the bond market is saying, well, you know what? This is a growth scare. But the Fed is also now in a position to begin cutting because inflation pressures are abating. So I think the bond market is sort of pricing in a Fed put. The stock market saying, I'm not sure if there's a White House put, and then the Fed's on hold, and I think that's the divergence.
So which one should we be listening to?
Well, I think the Fed put, in fact, is probably coming back because the odds of a May cut have been inching up. They hit 54% yesterday. And, in fact, total cuts hit 3.5 cuts, which is now 2.5 or 1.5 more than the Fed's guided.
All right, so a lot of good stuff there. Of course, joining me now is Mr. Tim Moore, coming in from Investing Bros. Just as kind of to kick this off before we get started, Tim, how are you? Doing okay?
Doing good. Some of the news we just watched there, I was watching for the first time. I spent the morning on the greens hitting some golf. So man. Some of that was breaking for me, but tried to keep up to date while I was out there. But I'm very glad to be here, Paul. Good to be with you again.
Yeah, make sure and check out Tim's channel. And that is Investing Bros right over there. They are rocking it. I loved the video you did of your $1 million crypto portfolio after taxes, which I thought was a cool one. He had some good picks in there. So
that's a cool new series we're doing. It's called Rate My Portfolio. And what people are doing is people from our community are submitting their portfolios to our Discord.
Nice.
And then we go in and we rate them. I say, if this was mine, here are the changes I would make. And of course, we've been bleeding during that series, but eventually those things are going to be really cool.
They're going to bounce.
Have feedback on.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we got to take a look at a few things right now. CPI inflation fell now to 2.8. This is below expectations of 2.9. This is good news for the market. Core CPI also falls to 3.1. Expectations were 3.2. So it's the first decline that we've seen since July of last year. So many people are saying, okay, well, this is the indicator that Powell might be looking for a Fed rate cut. What do you think is going to happen here just in a few days when we see FOMC come in?
It's going to be very interesting to watch how this plays out. I'm sure you've been tracking along with us. You know, the data has been very misleading for years now. I mean, the amount of things that were just coming out to manipulate how people felt about different issues, that's all being cleaned up right now. We're realizing unemployment is much more of a bigger problem than data was showing us last year. Same thing with inflation here. People behind the scenes have been tracking trueflation, which is probably the more realistic representation of true inflation. It's been trending down now for a while. So I think the mainstream media is surprised that today's inflation numbers are coming in low, but people have been doing their due diligence tracking trueflation. And now that data is being more reliable as it's coming out, it's not being manipulated, it's not surprising that inflation is coming in lower. And with that combination of seeing unemployment levels be a little bit higher than we thought and inflation being a little lower than we thought, well, that clearly right there with the Fed's dual mandate tells them we got to cut rates. We got to prevent more job loss. And inflation is not actually as big of a problem as we were maybe thinking a month or two ago.
Yeah, I was looking here at the trueflation numbers, 1.32. You see the fall off right there that you're referencing. And I think that in adjacent to what's going on in the market, this was another tweet here by Kobayashi that was interesting. And this is market mentality. CPI inflation lower than expected. Sell stocks. We're entering a recession. CPI inflation higher than expected, sell stocks, rate cuts are canceled. And then as expected, sell stocks, inflation is not falling. It's like, come on, sentiment is very powerful. And I agree with that. I think in general, when you look at the market, it is one right thing. Let's go to Bitcoin real quick. And obviously this is, I would say, very bullish news for Bitcoin. We saw a little bit of a recovery yesterday, even though there was that early scare from Trump where he was putting some more pressure on Canada. Bitcoin responded almost immediately and then bounced right back yesterday. What does your chart show right now on Bitcoin in the near term?
Yeah, but before any of that news actually even came out, we had kind of come up with a trade plan in my community, and I'll kind of lay that out for you guys, what I'm looking at right now. I know I've been on this show before. If you guys remember me from a couple of weeks or months ago, I thought that 90K was going to hold way back here in February. I was wrong, okay? So we have to deal with the new world that we're in where we lost 90K, and what's even worse is that the 90K region that was support for so long, for the moment, has become resistance. We had a little bit of a breakthrough on March 2nd and 3rd, but you can see we came right back down, came back up, treated that level as resistance. So that 90K region is going to be very, very important in the next couple of days, next week or so. Something that's very big. If you guys have been listening for the last couple of months, going to a different chart here, we kept talking about this CME gap that was formed back in November. Well, guess what, guys? Yesterday, we officially closed out that gap. It is no longer the big selling pressure. However, I'm going to show you why I think there's a chance, a slim chance, especially with this bullish news, but still a chance that the bottom of this move is not in yet. What I'm watching right now is you're seeing some buy signals come in on timeframes like the daily and the 2-daily. If you look back here on the daily chart, last week we got a green reversal on the Lux Algo, a green momentum, and positive money flow. Some of you don't know that strategy, but this is my favorite strategy to buy and sell. The exact opposite if we get all the sell signals. Well, we've had a little bit of a pullback here, but that's not uncommon. I told my community, don't be surprised to see a little bit of a gimmick, and we're kind of reforming another push right now. If that ends up being true, I'm going to show you another chart as well, but if that ends up being true, the target that I'm watching is going to be coming in here around 91 to potentially as high as 94,000, right? Back to these highs from early in March. Okay. What's cool is a larger time frame right now is giving us a very similar buy signal, where if I zoom in here on Lux Algo, guess what? green reversal, green momentum, and that's positive money flow. Very similar targets. The lower end, though, is going to be coming in here around 93. Higher end up here towards 97. But as a whole, I like myself to kind of trade the lower ranges, and with the daily kind of being in that camp, what I'm doing right now, we entered a trade the other day just almost to the bottom. We entered at 77,112 to be exact. But you can see we wicked down to about 76,500. Didn't get the exact bottom, but got very, very close. This trade setup for me is going to look something a little bit like this. We put our stop loss, I think, down here at 74.8. We put our take profit for now kind of right here in the middle of the zone, right about 91.8, give or take, is where we're trading this right now. Now, here's where we're going to be moving. This is what I'm expecting bullishly, even before this bullish news came out. I think this bullish news over the last couple of days is a big reason why other people are going to jump in on a similar train here. But the problem that I'm watching right now is this is what we're looking at in the next couple of days. When I zoom out a little bit further, I want to go all the way out to the 2-weekly chart and show you a concern, why I'm sitting here saying the bottom might not be in yet. What happened about a week and some change ago on the 2-weekly chart is I just showed you the daily and the 2-daily buy signals. Well, on the 2-weekly chart, we had the exact opposite confirm this last week. Red reversal, bullish or bearish momentum, along with bearish divergence. And then that money flow officially closed to the downside. Well, in the same way that bullish ones, you trade up towards a red smart trail. If you're above a blue smart trail, that is your target to the downside. Guess where that's coming in as we're leveling out here? Right about 74,100, maybe even as low as 65,000. What's the coincidence of those levels? What are those levels kind of signaling? Well, number one, that's almost perfectly the high from back in March. Also kind of the highs we had way back in May or April of 2021. Along with this, what I'm kind of tracking, if I turn off Lux, I'll go and turn on my liquidations here for a second. I want to go to the daily chart here. Take a look at where there's heavy long liquidations, meaning people that are over leveraged right now in a long position on Bitcoin. On the daily chart, there's a big stack coming in down here at around 65,000. If I go to the 8-hour chart, there's a big stack coming in here. Let me zoom out just a little bit. There we go. Come on, load for me here. It sometimes is a little bit dead. There we go. Big stack coming in right here around 74,000, right? So those levels, the reason why I'm not ready to declare the bottom is in yet is because of that strong, confident 2-weekly sell signal and those targets being that low. You have to be ready for that downward move. All right. But going back to my strategy, because this is what I'm kind of getting into, and I'll throw it back to you here, Paul, in a second. I'm going to be longing Bitcoin. I'm in a long right now. I'm going to hold this long till about 91,800, give or take. Then I will look for a reversal sign of some kind. There's going to be a red resistance level in here. There's going to be liquidations of short position here. I will look to enter a short, putting a stop loss up here towards $98,000. And the reason why is because this trajectory right now, this formation, this is a bullish formation, but we're still putting in lower highs since the high here. If we break above 98,000, all of a sudden Bitcoin for the first time since January 20th is breaking the lower low and lower high structure that we've been in here. And that would mean I'm going to flip. I'm going to get out of my short position. I'm going to take a small loss and I will re-enter a long as we make our way to new highs. But again, if I'm right here, and I'm not guaranteeing I am, I think that Bitcoin makes its way back up a little bit above 90K and then finds a reversal, once again putting in some sort of lower high, and then we'd make our trade back down here towards 74,000, give or take. I'll put my stop loss, again, right up here at 98. If I'm wrong, all of a sudden, good, I'll just re-enter a new long to the upside with a stop loss in place.
I like that strategy because it is one of those things that kind of plays both sides of the markets. And right now, I think trade, especially when you look at the volatility that we're seeing, trading, of course, is one of the ways to do that. Let's go into fear and greed, because fear and greed, even though it's up slightly, it was up from 15, but it's holding 19 after it dipped off the floor there, Tim. When you're looking at altcoins, because this is mostly what we're seeing right now, a lot of bleeding in the altcoin market, are you telling people to buy into altcoins right now as low as they are?
You know, so from a long-term perspective, if you do believe in crypto long-term the way I do, the way you do, Paul, it's hard to not love the discount prices you're getting here. But if you're a shorter term, like, man, I want to see Cardano do a 200% gain by next week. I'm not ready, just like I cannot declare officially the bottom of Bitcoin is in yet. I also cannot tell you confidently that crypto and altcoins' bottom is in yet. And one of the reasons why is because of this chart right here that is just continuing to be a little booger in our side. This chart is telling me the 4-year cycle is over. So we got to watch some other things. We really should have ended the Bitcoin dominance supremacy back in the end of November, early December. We got a little fake out. Like I almost looked genius there for a second, Paul, because I told people in October, I said, don't be surprised if early December we see an alt season run. Well, guess what? The Bitcoin dominance plummeted here early December, making me feel like, man, Tim, you called that perfectly. And then what has it done since then? It has gone back up to new highs this cycle. Of course, back here in February, we got all the way up to above 64. What I had been tracking is since that peak, we kind of had found a little consolidation between about 60% and 62%. And technically, we haven't broken and held above 62% yet, but you're seeing we're kind of flirting with that right now on my chart. Right. As Bitcoin dominance flirts here, this is one of two sides. You could say, hey guys, Bitcoin dominance is high again. It's time. It's better worth our risk to go into altcoins. What I'm sitting here saying is I like confirmation before I make larger movements. I'm not confident in saying altcoin season's ready to go until we break below 60%. If we can get back below 60%, I'll feel more confident about saying, hey guys, I think altcoins can start to make another run, another alt season. This one may be sustainable. But as long as this Bitcoin dominance is trending to the upside and flirting more with the higher end than the lower end, you have to be concerned that this could make another push back up towards 64, 65%. That doesn't mean altcoins will plummet. Again, a lot of times when you're seeing like this whole bull market so far, I mean, the bull market started way back in November of 2022, right? The Bitcoin dominance chart has been climbing since then. So has most of the altcoins, putting in higher highs and higher lows. But right now, anyone who's a Bitcoin maxi, they look like they're very smart because Bitcoin is still the best, safest investment in the crypto space. The question is just how long before this shifts, goes back down to the downside. That day is coming. I just don't know when. So for now, no, I'm not telling people to go all in on altcoins. I'm saying if you believe in it, buy the dips. These are great prices, but I'm not about to promise you an altcoin season just yet.
Well, you've got a couple of things playing into the market too. One is this whole super cycle concept that has been presented. One is Trump decides to dump the markets, and he's doing this through a lot of different, tool sets from tariffs, et cetera. That creates the recession fears, and of course that pushes the potential for cutting rates. And if that happens, it's going to stimulate a bull market. You put out a tweet here, classic manipulation. So this was an analysis on how billionaires manipulate crypto.
So he's referencing I don't remember the exact window, but there was a period a little bit last year where Jamie Dimon put out a memo to his financial advisors or to his people that buy up crypto. And he said, anyone caught buying Bitcoin will be fired on the spot, right? That makes you say, and along with comments Jamie Dimon has made, he hates Bitcoin. He's anti-Bitcoin. Do not want Bitcoin. If I hear that analysis and I'm a regular retail investor, I think, oh man, Jamie Dimon, one of the richest companies, or Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan, one of the richest companies in the world, he's saying do not buy it. He's willing to fire people over it. I need to sell my Bitcoin because this thing's about to crash. Well, guess what? The price went to the upside. And then later it was found that wallets belonging to JP Morgan had bought within that same week he told people he would fire them. Now the prices are high. He removes the threat. Okay. He no longer would fire people for recommending Bitcoin. JP Morgan has a history for over 100 years of manipulating markets, paying the fines from the SEC and other regulatory companies, but they realized, man, they paid over $100 billion in fines. They've probably profited more than $1 trillion over the last 100 years from their manipulation. They're going to keep doing it. And that's the kind of stuff I'm trying to warn people. Don't look at what they say. Watch what they do. That tells you the truth.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think this is the thing that we've continued to say is as we get traditional finance in the markets, like what we've been seeing over the past 12 to 18 months, it does change the dynamic. And you even kind of hinted to this, is the 4-year cycle out the window now? If you look at it, when you compare the dominance of Bitcoin and its kind of yo-yo position right now back to where it is, it does seem to be very influenced by what we're seeing in traditional finance. Let's jump over to ETH. ETH's price has been continuously dropping post-tariffs. And within this, it looks like we've hit a pretty critical support level. Many people are looking around $1,500 ETH potential. What do you think? Do you think we are going to a $1,500 ETH, or do you think it's going to flip on us and we're going to see a move?
Yeah, I'm learning more and more in this bull market because the 4-year cycle is dead, because the traditional moves, like the amount of fractals that people are putting out there and saying, oh, well, back in this time period, this did this, and during this time, this did this. I think people are getting wrecked, myself included. I've made some bad calls based off of historical fractals and 4-year cycle analysis.
Yeah,
you got to throw that out the window. And at this point, a trader that I learned a whole lot from in my early days, his name's Peter Brandt. I would recommend anybody who's watching this show or my show or any show, look up Peter Brandt. Is he right about everything? No, he's not. But he tweeted something last summer that I just had to remind myself. Technical analysis and investing, you don't have a crystal ball. You never know what exactly is going to happen. But what you're trying to do with technical analysis is find out the probabilities of the possibilities. And that's where we're at right now. Making a firm prediction, you'll never be 100% correct. What you can do is you can look at the charts and look at significant support and resistance, and then you can analyze what's the probability of that support being broken or the resistance being broken. So for example, on Ethereum, again, you asked me a month ago, look at this blue line here, Paul. That's a trending level of support. I would have told you, hey guys, and look at the defense here too. I would have told you guys, 2,500 on Ethereum, strong support. Why? Because it was strong support. And for a couple of weeks, it actually worked as strong support. But then we lost all of it. And then I would have told you, hey guys, coming back to the lows we had last year around September, here on 2,100, that would have been a good level of support. And if you look right here, we kind of wrestled with that again. But now, of course, we've dropped even lower. So, there are people out there that get these predictions right. People can get things right. People can get things wrong. At this point, I'm not about saying what I think definitely is going to happen. I'm about looking at the charts, looking at the possibilities and the probabilities, and analyzing, what could happen. So what I'm going to look at here, you're going to see kind of similar to Bitcoin. If I come in daily and 2 daily charts, we're getting some bullish divergences, right? Even though the lows have been getting lower, the lows on oscillators are getting higher. We don't have the buy signal yet on Ethereum for the daily chart like we do for Bitcoin, so that's not as bullish. But where I'm keeping an eye on is these larger time frames, and I'm saying where are they showing me some support? Yeah. And at the moment, while we've lost the $1,900, $2,000 support that could have started, I think 1,500 in line with the lows we had from October of 2023. You have to open yourself up to the possibility that level is possible. I've seen some other analysts talk about 1,300, the lows from back here in March. But as a whole, the other thing you're going to kind of look at here, I'm going to do some classic Fibonacci retracement. Now that we've lost this support level, let's take a look at where the golden pocket is going to be sitting. Okay, there we go, 1,500. Golden pocket, a very normal pullback, even within a bull market, to pull back down that far and then continue to the upside. I'm not telling you guys 100% Ethereum's going to 1,500, but in the same reason why I think there's a chance Bitcoin could rally to 90K and then fall back to 74, could Ethereum rally back up, let's say back towards 2,300, giving people an illusion that the bull market's back, and then fall to the 1,500, that golden pocket level, that strong support level, that 2 weekly, if I show you the 2 weekly suggested take profit level, could that absolutely happen? Absolutely. That is on the table as something you need to be ready for the possibility. And this is another thing that people need to understand when they're investing, when they're trading. Just have a plan. Like that trade setup that I showed you guys on Bitcoin where I told you, well, I'll long up to this and then I'll enter a short, but I'll put a take profit for just in case the price goes a little higher. Have your plan right now. What is your plan for if the bottom is in? What is your plan for if the bottom is not in? Where are your buy levels? Where are your sell levels? Where are your stop losses? Say, if it gets above this, I'm going super bullish. If it gets below this, I'm going super bearish. Develop those plans now, and that way nothing in this market will shock you ever again. You'll sleep well at night. You'll make money over the next couple of years, maybe not in the next week and a half.
Well, I think a lot of people are debating right now because this is many people would look at this in the market and say, this is a great time because we haven't seen altcoins at this price before. By the way, if you guys are not subscribed to the show, make sure and subscribe right now. And let me know down in the comments if you think, would you play an altcoin right now? And if so, drop in the altcoin that you would probably invest in. And would you go in and maybe wait for a $1,500 ETH? Could you get surpassed in it, if ETH goes above 2K again and makes a run? Because it is one of those contrarian tokens right now. And then, of course, other news that kind of hit, and this is XRP, and I want to take a look at your chart here, but new integration now, XRP Ledger is now live. They're announcing support for XRP Ledger on Layer 1 blockchain. This, of course, is now RWA assets. We talked about this integration of putting XRP on RWA. We talked about it on one of the shows, and then lo and behold, they did it. So kudos to everybody that was part of that. What do you think about XRP right now? Is it a good position? A lot of people are looking at this and saying, hey, it's retraced off of that 5X. Maybe now is my a chance to get into XRP.
So here's the question. I said about it earlier, and you kind of reiterated there. Here's what I would ask people. Are you a contrarian trader or are you a momentum trader, right?
Yeah.
If you're a contrarian trader, what I'm about to show you in XRP, you might say, yeah, I might not sell my XRP, but I'm not looking to add any more to it. You look at the Ethereums and the Chainlinks and others. I put a tweet out the other day. People that are not XRP fans are not going to like this, but if you're an XRP fan, you'll love it. Show me another altcoin that's been around for a while. Like there's a couple newer coins that are holding up decently.
Exactly.
Show me an old altcoin holding up better than XRP. This is the daily chart right here. And even though we have lower highs coming in from the highs back here in January, what about the support levels? Those are higher support levels. We already showed you Bitcoin trending down. Ethereum clearly trending down. Solana trending down. Chainlink trending down. XRP trending sideways, consolidating. That green line at support has been phenomenal. And other coins had support like this. They just lost the support. XRP has held it. So if you're a contrarian trader, you like buying blood in the streets, XRP does not have blood. But if you're a momentum trader, XRP is the coin for you. It is showing you how strong it is right now. And I'll be really simple with you guys here. I have two different breakout predictions for the next couple of weeks and then another one for the next couple of years just off technical analysis. So a rising support level with a descending resistance level, that's called a symmetrical triangle pattern. That would give you a breakout prediction here for XRP. This, I'm going to say probably the next couple of months, somewhere around $4 to $4.20. Okay. That's awesome. Some of you are going to love just even a $4 XRP, not quite a 2X from here, but close to it. Right.
Yep.
But when you have a symmetrical triangle pattern attached to an explosive leg to the upside, this is what we call a bull pennant. And a bull pennant, you take the length of the flagpole, you move it over to the last significant support level. This has a price prediction up towards $13 to $14. Okay.
Right.
Don't necessarily think you have to get all the way there. You're going to start to look for other situations kind of going on. Like maybe you want to use Fibonacci extension and a lot of other things. I'm not going to get into that right now. But the overall perspective that I'm looking at here is this chart still shows me massive potential for XRP. And that also doubles with, I'm one of these people who sometimes I do shows with other technical analysts, and they only want to look at technical analysis, right? They don't want to analyze market cap and the different momentum. I love mixing the technicals with understanding of where things can get fundamentally. It's like when my price prediction videos, I never do technical analysis to make my price predictions. I do fundamental analysis. How rich can this coin get? And XRP is a coin that's already number 3 of all cryptocurrencies. Do not be surprised to see it get up in the world of $500 to $600 billion per market cap at least. And the simple, I'd have to go back and look at my exact numbers, but that mathematics, if we got to $600 billion of XRP's market cap.
That's a 5X.
And what is 5 times $2.22? Somewhere in that world of $11, $12, $13 area. So if you agree with that fundamental analysis on XRP, that's going to tell you north of $10 is on the table. I don't think XRP is ready for a $1 trillion market cap anytime soon. Give it 5 to 10 years, right? We'll get over $1 trillion market cap. But for now, 2026, 2027, I think getting over the $500 billion market cap for XRP, very, very doable. It is what I'm expecting. And especially with recent news coming out here with the more adoption of cryptocurrency and XRP, again, getting a seat at the table at the White House. People that are bearish in XRP, you got to call them what they are. They're haters. They're not thinking
it
logically.
is, because even if it gets to the $500 billion market cap, I mean, that is set. Even if ETH were to 2X from here, it would still flip ETH. And that would be a significant move into the number 2 token behind Bitcoin. This is another thing too, that because I'm in the camp with you right now. I believe XRP because, and I'll go back to my chart, as you said, the sideways action. But one of the things within our own trading indicator, this is one of the few charts that you guys will see that just look at those green boxes right there. That basically is all the sentiment that continues to fly. And this is the one that has held over every other token out there. If you look at Avalanche, Solana, every one of them sideways, even though right now the markets have been down, but I think a lot of it back to the fundamentals that you're talking about. However, I think XRP is going to do something very surprising. Ripple is going to do something very surprising that is going to be integrated, whether it is RLUSD and or some of the advancement into RWA, which is why I'm so bullish on this token and what it's going to do. So I'm in agreement there. I'm not sure 14, but a lot of people are definitely pushing for that $10 market. And if that does happen, nice move on another 5X for many of you. Here's, speaking of that, Brad Garlinghouse, right here, breaking frantic. This is Franklin Templeton. They filed their prospectus for an XRP ETF. If this happens, this would absolutely balloon this market cap because of the potential for real investment level capital to make its way into Ripple. And I think that is something that a lot of people have not put on the table for sure. Let's move on. I want to go over to Polkadot. 21 shares in Grayscale. They filed for Polkadot ETF filings. They haven't been delayed. That's the only one of all the ones that were delayed. Polkadot was not delayed. This is very intriguing. Now, granted, it was because of when they placed it, because it was so early and long ago. But what is your position right now on Polkadot? I mean, with all this news of potentially Polkadot being the chain that Frank McCourt and what they're trying to do with the acquisition of TikTok, could we get a social media platform on a blockchain like Polkadot and Frequency? What are your thoughts on the chart for Polkadot? Man, it looks bad.
Yeah, and that's where, again, if you're a contrarian trader, maybe you sit here and say, you know what, I'm looking across all of crypto. I want to buy what looks like the losers because they might have the greatest upside swing. That's your case for a DOT investment. I'm going to be completely transparent with everybody here as I get this analysis. I was in DOT a year ago. I think what DOT built is a great thing. There are some big issues on the charts and even some things within their own team that I think Polkadot's made some crucial mistakes in this cycle, and I'm worried about their long-term health. But from a chart perspective, we'll talk charts here. That's not a good chart, right? That is not a momentum chart. The very opposite of XRP. The fact that we're right back down here to bear market lows all the way back in October 2023, we're below the November, December lows of 2022. This DOT can't catch a break. The chart just keeps getting lower and lower. Could DOT pop back up at least to $11? Absolutely. The truth is, I don't think it's ridiculous to think that maybe DOT makes a grander move, at least back up to a golden pocket. You know, that this would still be bearish, but we're talking about a $20 Polkadot. Just some quick math there, guys. If DOT goes back to $20 and you bought it right now, we're talking about a 5X. Like, that's nothing to shake a stick at. My question about Polkadot, where I used to be more bullish on it, thinking we were going to build some momentum, you know, could we get to new all-time highs? Could we make it up here to the golden or to the extension of Fibonacci to 1.27 or the golden pocket extension? Could we get up here to 120, 300? I don't think so. I think that that's kind of out of the cards. I would love to be wrong for everyone who holds DOT. I do not hold DOT anymore, but that doesn't mean I'm rooting against DOT or hate anyone that holds it. I'm not going to FUD it to try to convince people to lose, to sell all their DOT. I just have genuinely real concerns about them from the chart and from fundamental perspectives. But an ETF would help. It would bring more attention to the space. I'll tell you, this is my concern, Paul, and I'll let you go with this one. I don't know if you have inside information I don't have. I think it's development. I think that their development is slowing down compared to other chains. They're losing momentum in their growth, whereas other coins are picking up and getting more and more being built. Can they regroup? Can they get their developers back on track? Can they get back to what made them special back in 2021? I'm not a fan of the concept that coins that did well in 2021 can't do well now.
Sure.
There are some dinosaurs that will flop. That doesn't mean they have to. DOT right now, to me, seems like one that could flop, but I would love to be proven wrong. Let's get the fundamentals back on track. Let's get the charts back up, and we can talk about a new all-time high later on, but I don't see one right now.
The one thing I would say, and I'm not defending any altcoin, but I look at the scenario of what's playing out in the market. The one thing that would change kind of the stars of Polkadot is this win on TikTok. If Frank McCourt and his team of now, you've got Kevin O'Leary in there, Mr. Bees, Alexis Ohanian, all those guys are major players with lots of money. If they pull the TikTok play off, frequency gets inserted into the TikTok algorithm in the new one, the U.S. technology stack, Polkadot could immediately get response from that, and that might give them the leg that you're talking about, which would be a development push to get them moving in the right direction. So definitely a lot happening out there. As I said, if you guys are not following Tim, make sure and jump over to his channel. You can find him over there at Investing Bros on YouTube. And Tim, thanks again for jumping in today. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, Paul. Thank you for having me again.
You bet. All right. You guys if you're not in the Diamond Circle, get in right now. It's a great place to get additional content from us, and join our Telegram group. It is the place where me, personally, will go in and chat with you guys. And I love your comments. Great. Thank you so much. Also love your trade ideas. That's where you can do it in our own private group down below. We only have one. Don't fall for any. I'm not asking for anybody to invest in anything or anything like that, because there's a few of those out there. So just keep your eye on that. Use the link down below. You'll be safe. And we'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.